I was 18 when I went to JNU. My cohort were the first set of people who actually politically took on the left. My father, who was a bureaucrat, had become a secretary, but he was removed from his secretaryship. I speak English. I speak Hindi. I can speak Tamil. I actually studied Russian, a rudimentary sense of Japanese, because I do need to talk to my wife from time to time. I'm from a bureaucratic family. You know, my father was a bureaucrat. I have an elder brother who was a bureaucrat. My grandfather was a bureaucrat, and we have aunts and not aunts but uncles who were there. So our world, if I can put it to you this way, was very, very bureaucratic. Our goals, our dreams were bureaucratic.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning, you know, if you had asked me, if you and I had met, which we had, let us say in 2010, and say, okay, Jaishankar, what's your dream? I'd say, I want to become foreign secretary. That's the dream of any foreign service officer. Now, in our household, there was also, I would say, I won't call it pressure, but we were all very, very conscious of the fact that my father, who was a bureaucrat, had become a secretary, but he was removed from his secretaryship. You know, he became, at that time, probably the youngest secretary in the Janta government in 1979. So in 1980, he was Secretary Defence Production. In 1980, when Indira Gandhi was re-elected, he was the first secretary that she removed. And, you know, he was the most knowledgeable person, everybody would say, on defence. He was also a very upright person. Maybe that caused a problem, I don't know. But the fact was, as a person, he saw his own bureaucratic career in bureaucracy actually kind of stall. And after that, you know, he never became a secretary again. He was superseded during the Rajiv Gandhi period for his, you know, somebody junior to him became cabinet secretary. So it was something he felt. We rarely spoke about it, but it was obviously something which must have been inside him. So he was very, very proud when my elder brother became secretary. And in my case, he passed away in 2011. At that time, I had got what you would call grade 1, which is like a secretary rank ambassador. I didn't become secretary. I became after he passed away. But for us, you know, at that time, the goal, you could say, was, okay, we must become secretary. Say, JNU was different. I was 18 when I went to JNU, okay? And JNU was very, very firmly leftist at that time. And I think everything, you know, at 18, what you intuitively believe is either formed by your friends and acquaintances or what is reflective of your home. And definitely in our home, my father, who was a very strong influence on us, was very distrustful of ideologies and people who he believed were not, who did not have the loyalties in our own country.
Such as?
Well, you look, you know, you're not talking. Remember, he had his own views about what was happening in the 40s and 50s at that time. You know, who was for the national movement. You know, where did different people, you know, how did they switch? He was very, very distrustful of the left. You know, so of the communist left. I think some of it, so in a sense we grew up very unspokenly but very strongly as very patriotic children, you might say. You know, we kind of went to these military institutions. I went to Air Force School, to King George's Bangalore Military School. My siblings went to, some of them went to Naval School, to Sardar Patel Vidyalaya. So I think that was the kind of mindset I took into JNU. So in fact in JNU, which was a dominantly leftist outlook, where the teachers, the students, the administration, everybody was very leftist, my lot of people, my cohort were the first set of people who actually politically took on the left. I was very clearly with what was called the free thinkers.
How many languages do you speak? You're a polyglot.
Obviously, I speak English. I speak Hindi, I won't say at a very high standard, but with a kind of a street smart fluency.
The Tamilian Hindi, or is it a JNU Hindi?
No, it's actually a Delhi Hindi.
Delhi Hindi.
I was born in Delhi. Okay.
You were born in Delhi?
Yes,
okay.
I was born in Delhi. I was born in Delhi. I grew up in Delhi. I spent, whatever time I've spent in India is largely Delhi. So it's a very Delhi person's, I would say, fluent, not always complex Hindi. Because I grew up in Hindi, I didn't have the advantage of ever studying Tamil. I can speak Tamil, but not with the kind of fluency and command of vocabulary that I would like. Russian is different because I actually studied Russian when I was in the Foreign Service. We are allotted a language, so I went there. So I actually properly studied it using books and so on. I have a certain, I would say, working rudimentary sense of Japanese because I do need to talk to my wife from time to time.
Okay.
We've kind of evolved something which is peculiar to us, and this happens, in this situation. I mean, it could be your food, it could be your slang language, what you say to each other. I mean, we use phrases which somebody else listening in would find very difficult because there could be Japanese slang put in an English sentence, sometimes with a Hindi twist, because my wife's linguistic ability is much better than mine. I learned Hungarian, but unfortunately it's very rusty. So people make more claims about me than I do myself.